Let's take a look at just one example of those other forces, Communist China. We do a lot of trade with China, and China has a very rich history. When I was a scholar with Harvard's International Honors Program, I studied in China and enjoyed the people's friendship and ancient culture. But is Communist China, the government, a threat to the democratic ideals of our United States? Communist China invaded Tibet and destroyed almost all their places of worship, and they continue to select its own Buddhist priests as a way of controlling and slowly eliminating their religion. As the much-revered founding father of Communist China, Mao Zedong, stated, "Religion is poison." Can you imagine if your religious leader at your place of worship was arrested and replaced by someone selected by politicians in Washington, D.C.? What else is Communist China doing today? For one, they're constantly hacking into our institutions which exercise their right to freedom of the press, such as the New York Times. Many invasions have been traced back to this building in Shanghai, which is owned by the Chinese military. Communist China's national development program relies on industrial espionage, such as stealing corporate secrets not just by internet hacking, but by Chinese agents here in the United States. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce reported in 2013 that $300 billion of intellectual property is stolen from us, the United States, every year. And I can tell you that China is absolutely at the very forefront of these thefts. It gets worse. Listen to what Michelle Von Cleve had to say. She was the head of U.S. counterintelligence from 2003 to 2006. She said, quote, "One example, the Chinese, by espionage, acquired all of the design information of U.S. nuclear weapons currently in our inventory." End quote. Keep in mind that China is, among major world powers, the best friend of the Islamic-based government of Iran, which wishes to develop nuclear weapons, and the absolutely insane government of North Korea, which now has nuclear weapons. In fact, without China, North Korea would not even exist. That's what the Korean War was all about. Unfortunately, it gets worse than this. This is the F-35, our next-generation combat aircraft. It can perform as a fighter or bomber and has advanced electronic warfare capabilities. It is a stealth aircraft with the option of vertical takeoff and landing. The F-35 is going to cost us at least $1.5 trillion. It is the most expensive weapons program in the world ever, and if we lose the advantage of the F-35, there is no alternative, no other next-generation aircraft to rely on. If a single military weapons program is central to the safety of the United States, this is it. Some years ago, thousands of blueprints and technical information for the F-35 were stolen. Thereafter, China unveiled its next generation of combat aircraft, the J-31. Communist China has also stolen details of our Black Hawk weapons program, Osprey weapons program, our drone programs, and dozens of others. It is true that currently the United States is the world's largest economy and has the strongest military, but that's going to change. Everyone has their own projection, but the very clear consensus is this: Communist China will overtake the United States as the world's largest economy, and this will occur 3 to 5 years from now. 5 to 15 years after that, the Chinese military will surpass that of the United States. No freedom of religion, speech, press, or representation. Industrial espionage costing us hundreds of billions of dollars. Theft of all our nuclear weapons design information. Theft of our most important combat programs. And friends of Iran and North Korea. This is what Communist China represents in part, and it is soon to become the world's largest economy and the world's most powerful military. All nations use their economic and military power simply by having it to influence the world beyond its borders, and what China represents and what the United States represents are two different things. Yes, of course we should continue fair trade with China, but the United States is more than just about making money, isn't it?